you guys. Let's see. Comments. Can I get comments pulled up? Comments. How's everybody doing today? Welcome. Should we notify the Discord one more time? Yeah, let's do it. Why not? There we go. Alright, we should be good to go. I've been remembering to turn this on. Let's see. What is up? Welcome to the stream. Welcome, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about you have to feel it. You have to feel it to heal it. A lot of people don't want to hear that, but this is the truth, right? This is the truth that we're speaking. You have to feel it to heal it, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Brian, what's up? Sanchez, what's up, dude? Hi, hello, welcome. What up, man? Welcome, everybody. Welcome. As always, we'll give it a few minutes, let some people get in here. What's up, Sean? Let's see. While we're waiting for people to join us, let's send out the Discord link for anybody who wants to join us over on Discord. I'm like 90% sure that the Discord link is in the description of like every single video, most of them anyway. But just in case I'm wrong, let's go ahead and post that link right there. Right there. Good morning, my first time here. Good morning. Welcome. Glad to have you. We're going to get going in just a minute, guys. We're going to get going. What's up, Tony? Welcome, Tony. How you doing, dude? Welcome. Good to see you, Tony. Good to see you, Tony. Welcome. Let's go ahead and mute the notifications on my phone so it doesn't disturb us. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. We're about to get going. You have to feel it to heal it. By the way, Sean, I got your comment on my last video. I did reply to that. Yesterday's stream was a bit of a rant. It was more of an aggressive approach. Like, hey, you want to overcome this thing? Then you got to embrace this thing. You got to feel this thing. You got to move through this thing, right? You got to stop being bullied by this thing. You got to embrace it. You got to accept it. And leading in to today's stream, you have to feel it to heal it. So yesterday we did have a bit of a rant stream. If you want to go check that out, go check that out. It was nice. People enjoyed it. Jamie, hello, Wonder Bro. What's up, Jamie? So yeah, a bit of a rant stream yesterday. Everyone was pretty hype about it. I don't know what got into me, but it was nice. If you missed it, it'll be on the channel. It is on the channel currently right now. But yesterday's stream kind of leads us into today's stream. You have to feel it to heal it. Now, let's say, okay, I'm going to go ahead. Actually, let's go ahead and get started. Take this down. Let's say you watched yesterday's stream. It was more of an aggressive approach to healing. It was more of stop playing defense. It's time to start playing offense, right? Stop playing defense. It's time to start playing offense. Sean says when you said it's like a bully, you're making it look like it's a bad thing and you have to do something about it. Well, you're being bullied by it. So bully the bully, okay, in a way means that you have to stand up for yourself, dude. You have to stop bending over, right? You have to start bending over. So basically, it's not a bad thing. It's a bad thing when you allow it to bully you. There you go. Is that a better way to put it, Sean? It's not a bad thing. Anxiety will never be a quote-unquote bad thing. But it's a bad thing. It's an awful thing when you let it bully you. So when you sit around, you add a ton of second fear, you add a lot of worry, you add a lot of fight, you add a lot of strain. You're not willing to stand up and accept and embrace the feelings and the thoughts. Then it becomes absolutely a bad thing, right? But anxiety in itself, you are correct, is not a bad thing. But when you let it get to the point that it's bullying you and you're not willing to embrace it, accept it, and feel it, then it absolutely becomes a bad thing. So we're going to talk about that today, guys. You have to feel it, okay? You have to feel it to heal it. A lot of people don't want to hear that. Why do a lot of people not want to hear that? Because we always want a way around it. We always want a way around it. We want some way to duck under it. We want some way to go around it. We don't want to have to feel the anxiety. And because of that, we come up with all sorts of coping methods, compulsions, safety-seeking behaviors. We mentally, okay, this is a big one, we mentally start to argue and fight with the thoughts and try to prove them wrong. We get into this big street fight with the way that we feel and the thoughts that we have, which of course is just gas to the fire. And that's why you're here on my channel now. So a lot of people, when they hear, you know, you're going to have to feel this thing in order to heal this thing, that's just not something they want to hear. But I'm here to tell you, there's really no other way around it. If you can't get to the point where you're willing to embrace these feelings and thoughts, and I don't mean with 100% perfection, right? I don't mean with 100% perfection, because you're a human being. You're allowed to make mistakes. But if you're not willing to get to the point where you are willing to feel, okay, these thoughts and these feelings, if you're not willing to feel it, you're always going to be going around trying to find a way around it. And when you go around trying to find a way around it, you're always going to be in some sort of a fight, right? You're always going to be some sort of a conflict. And conflict is what's keeping you in the boat that you're in. So, you know, again, when people hear those words, you're going to have to feel it to heal it. It's not something, you know, especially when we're new to acceptance, especially when we're new to this whole thing, it's not something we necessarily like to hear. But how far has the avoidance, has the fighting, has the compulsion, how far has all of that nonsense gotten you? If you're honest with yourself, not very far, right? I mean, that's why you're here on my channel now, because all of that nonsense hasn't gotten you very far, because let's face the facts. That's the first thing we want to do as human beings. We want to fight against the way that we feel. We want to fight against these thoughts, and we want to get into this big street fight. And eventually, that leads you to realizing that you're going nowhere with that approach, right? You're going nowhere with that approach. You're adding gas to the fire. You're taking this fire and you're dumping a tremendous amount of gas on it. Right? So eventually you come to the realization that that's not working. You end up here on my channel, and then I tell you, okay, well, it's time to feel it to heal it. And you might say to yourself, well, Wonder Bro, all I've been doing this whole time is feeling it. All I've been doing this whole time is feeling it. What else can I do? What do you mean feel it to heal it? No, I mean really feel it. I mean feel it without all of the extra little tidbits that you're adding on the end, like the compulsions, the safety-seeking behaviors, the mentally fighting with it all, the trying to argue with it all. I mean really feel it. I don't mean just feel it. I mean really feel it without all of the little tidbits that you keep adding to it, right? So, you know, people say, well, my whole life I've been feeling it. What do you mean? I can't feel it more than I'm already feeling it. And I mean, you got to feel it without all the bullshit that you're tacking on the end, right? You got to feel it without all the gas that you're adding, right? And people don't really like to hear that, because again, that gas, even though it is gas, even though they're gassing the fire, which obviously is not good, to them that's their safety nets. Right? That's their compulsions. That gas that we're referring to, that's the compulsions. That's the safety-seeking behaviors. That's the reassurance, the 24-hour reassurance. That's the mentally getting up there and fighting with these thoughts and trying to prove them wrong. You know they're irrational, but you get up there and you fight with them anyway. You want this safety that you're not gonna get. Right? But it feels good in the short term to get up there and fight with these thoughts. Maybe it doesn't necessarily feel good, but it feels familiar. It feels comfortable. It makes you feel a bit safer when you carry out these safety-seeking behaviors and these compulsions and the mentally arguing with these thoughts. And, you know, it makes you feel a little bit better. But in the long run, it's hurting you, and it's hurting you really, really badly, right? So when I say feel it to heal it, and you say, well, all I've ever done is feel it. No, I mean feel it to heal it without all of the bullshit attached. And that means you're going to have to you're going to have to cut up the safety nets, right? That means you're going to have these thoughts and say to yourself, okay, thank you. I'm going to embrace you. Okay, yeah. So what? Say what you want to say, right? I'm going to willingly step into it. So, you know, you may have been feeling it for years, but you ain't been feeling it the way you need to feel it. And that's without all the safety nets and the harnesses and all the bullshit that you've got set up, right? So people don't like that. That makes people feel uncomfortable. They're gonna have to willingly step into and embrace the way that they feel and embrace the thoughts they have without fighting with it. And people don't necessarily like that. That makes them a bit anxious just hearing that. And that's okay, because guess what? If you're going through your days and you're feeling anxious, good. If you're going through your days and you're having negative thoughts, good. If you're fighting with all of that, bad, right? But see, people treat acceptance like a pill. I take a pill and then it all goes away. Okay, they say to themselves, I'm accepting these thoughts and feelings, but then 10 seconds later, they're up in their head thinking, when is it going to go away? Or 10 seconds later, they're up in their head with these thoughts thinking, okay, here's why that won't happen. They say the words generically, I accept, and then 10 seconds later, it's right back to a fight, and then they wonder where they're going wrong. You actually have to feel it. Right? There's no way around it. You've actually got to feel it, and that means you're going to get very uncomfortable, and that means you're going to be very uncomfortable, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? I can't sit here and say, hey, feeling these physical symptoms, it's going to be a joy. You're going to have the best time of your life, because that would make me a fucking liar, right? But I'm also not going to sit here and say, hey, feeling these physical symptoms, that's a horrible thing. That's a bad thing. No, you got to meet me in the middle here. I know you don't necessarily want to feel these physical symptoms. I understand that. But at the same time, you shouldn't be fighting with them. You don't want to see them as a bad thing. You are adding the gas to your own fire, right? So you got to meet me in the middle here. I'm not telling you to love the symptoms, but I'm telling you that you are going to have to be willing to be anxious, to have the negative thoughts, and not fight with them. You're going to have to be willing to cut up those safety nets, that mental fight that you got going on, trying to prove these thoughts wrong, carrying out the compulsions, yada, yada. The list goes on and on. It's very straightforward and obvious what I mean by compulsions. A compulsion is anything you do to try to control the way that you feel. Right? As far as anxiety is concerned. So keep that in mind. That's an important little thing that you can carry with you. What is a compulsion? It's anything that you try to do to try to control the way that you feel or try to manipulate or get away from the way that you feel, when we're talking about anxiety. So, all of the mental arguing with the thoughts. It's all of the 24-hour reassurance. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of support, but when it gets to the point where it's 24 hours a day, you've got a problem. So a compulsion is anything that you do to try to get away from the way that you feel. Now, you can go around and you can mutter the words, I accept, all day long. But if you 10 seconds later get right back up in your head and you're trying to prove these thoughts wrong to make yourself feel better, if you're trying to do something to manipulate the way that you feel, well, you can mutter the words, I accept, all day long. But if you're going right back to a fight right after those words come out of your mouth, you're wasting your time, right? So, you have to feel it to heal it. And I'm going to rope it back in here. Yesterday, we took a more aggressive approach in the stream. Stop being bullied by the bully. It's not a bad thing, okay, until you let it start to bully you, which means you're not accepting it, which means you're trying to fight it, you're trying to run from it, right? So yesterday, we took the more aggressive standpoint, okay? And normally, we take the more casual, neutral standpoint. It's just an overprotective protection mechanism. It doesn't matter which way you want to go about it, as long as you get motivated. Right? Doesn't matter which way you necessarily want to go about it, as long as you're using acceptance. Doesn't matter what terms you want to use, right? As long as you get to a point where you are willing to feel the way that you feel and have the thoughts that you have with this anxiety crap, and no longer seek out, okay, to escape from it or fight with it or manipulate or change it. Because how far has all of those efforts gotten you? Not far. Obviously, they're not working, or you would not be here on my channel right now. Correct? So, oh, I'm burping, man. That came out of nowhere. So, ignore that. Whether you want to look at it as I'm no longer going to let this thing bully me, right? I'm no longer going to try to fight against this thing. Do your best. Take your best shot. Right? If you want to get pumped up and get motivated in that way, great. Because guess what? You're no longer fighting with it. You're proving to your amygdala that all is well. Or if you want to take a more neutral standpoint, hey, this is just my overprotective buddy trying to help me out. I'm not going to fight with it. Why would I fight with my overprotective friend here? Right? I accept these thoughts and feelings. I'm going to allow myself to sit with this discomfort and allow it to burn up. Right? So I don't care what standpoint you really want to take. Okay, as far as the aggressive approach, or go from offense or defense to offense, or maybe a more neutral approach. This is just my overprotective friend, right? I don't care. I don't give a shit, quite frankly, what approach you want to take. As long as I can get you, this is the important part. As long as I can get you to practice becoming more willing to feel the way that you feel and have the thoughts that you have without trying to manipulate or change them. And what I mean by that is to try to run from the feelings. Oh gosh, I can't handle it. I got to think of something. I got to do something, some sort of compulsion, some sort of safety-seeking behavior to make it go away, to take the edge off. I got to do something. Or maybe we're talking about a thought. I got to get up here and I got to fight with it. I got to prove it wrong. I've got to prove it wrong, even if it takes me 6 hours to convince myself that this bad thing that my anxious mind keeps throwing me, if it takes me 6 hours, I got to prove that this bad thing won't happen. Cut it out, right? You got to cut it out. I don't care which approach you want to take. I don't care how you want to look at your anxiety. As long as you get to a point where you're willing to feel it. As long as you get to a point where you're willing to feel it, to heal it, and I don't mean feel it the way you've been feeling it. I mean feel it without the safety nets. I mean feel it without trying to manipulate it. I mean feel it and willingly walk into it and say to yourself, you know, it is what it is, so be it. And the same applies to the thoughts, the same applies to the feelings, right? We got to get you to a point where you are willing to feel it, to heal it. And stop basing your recovery off the way that you feel in the moment. If you feel anxious as shit right now, that is great. It is great as long as you're not fighting with it. And that means shut up, right? That means shut up. Okay, I have these thoughts. Thank you for coming, right? Okay, or if you want to take the more aggressive approach, I have these thoughts. Hit me with your best shot, right? I don't care which approach you want to take. As long as you get to a point where you're no longer trying to manipulate or control the anxiety, and you're willingly sitting with the discomfort and being with the discomfort and getting on with your life in the meantime, right? That's the two main keys in a nutshell right there. Get on with your life, okay, and stop fighting with it all. Be willing to feel it. You got to feel it to heal it, and not in the way that you've been feeling it. Like I just said, not in the way that you've been feeling it, but in the way that we feel it without trying to manipulate, control, or change it, right? Right? And now, like I said, you can take either approach that you want, the more laid back approach, the more neutral approach, the more aggressive approach. I don't care. As long as you get to the point where you feel it to heal it. As long as you get to the attitude where next time you're anxious or next time you have some negative thoughts, you remind yourself, I'm going to feel it. I'm going to feel it to heal it. I'm not going to try to manipulate it, change it, run from it, fight it. This is a good thing. This is a good thing because as I feel it, I am healing it. It may not feel like it in the moment, but as I feel it, I am healing it without the fight, right? So, you know, when we first get started with acceptance, you know, we think, oh, this is all sunshine and rainbows. This is going to take my anxiety right away. We don't realize that this is a process, and it discourages some people. They're like, what do you mean? I got to go through more anxiety? No, you got to go through it the right way. You for the first time in your life, you got to go through it the right way, which means you got to feel it to heal it, which means you got to feel it to heal it without the fighting, right? Right? You got to be willing to step into it. So, you know, I understand people are desperate. They're looking for an approach. They find acceptance and they think, oh gosh, this is going to take my anxiety right away. It will heal you. Obviously, that's the end goal. I'm not going to take the end goal away from you. It will heal you. It will heal your nerves. It'll turn you into a person you never thought you could be. It absolutely will do all these things. But the process is not like taking a pill, right? The process is not like taking a pill. You got to be willing to have these thoughts and not fight with them and just say, you know what, it is what it is. You got to be willing to have these feelings and you say, you know what, I don't necessarily like it, but it is what it is. So you got to feel it to heal it, guys. You got to feel it to heal it. And that is the main point of today's stream, coming right off the back of our little rant yesterday. You got to feel it to heal it. You got to take that approach. There's no more trying to manipulate the way that you feel. There's no more trying to prove these stupid thoughts wrong, right? If you are fighting or if you are trying to manipulate anxiety in any sort of way, right? By fighting with it, by trying to make it go away, you're just feeding the beast. So you got to feel it to heal it. And you've got to get into the attitude of having these thoughts is not a bad thing. Having these feelings is not a bad thing. I'm not going to let them bully me by trying to, you know, by bowing down to them, right? I'm going to stand up for myself and get on with my life. But at the same time, I accept their presence, right? I accept their presence, and I'm not going to fight with them. I'm not going to fight with them. I'm not going to waste my time fighting with them, right? So that was the main point of today's stream, guys. You have to feel it to heal it. You got to start looking at these anxious symptoms and these thoughts as an opportunity instead of running around like a chicken with your head cut off, right? Because I ran around for a long time like a chicken with his head cut off. I got nowhere. You got to be willing to embrace these feelings and thoughts without trying to manipulate them, argue with them, or fight them, right? It is what it is. You got to feel it to heal it. And if you're feeling anxious but you're not fighting with it, great. Great, right? So, with all that being said, let's move on to the comments. Let's see what we got in the comments. Hey, Wonder Bro, next week I will face my fear and triggers without any of my coping methods like my pill or my phone. With my therapist, your streams give me the courage and motivations to do that. Thank you. That's awesome, Fu Man. I'm very proud of you, dude. Feel free to keep us updated. Feel free to keep us updated. But what if the thoughts are constantly horrible, related to trauma or shame, regret from past events or life experiences, Chris? Never mind what ifs, but more wish I hadn't had that happen. It's still a thought. It may have happened, right? But you've been fighting it for so long. How far has that gotten you? It's time to take a different approach. You got to feel it to heal it. You got to feel your past traumas. You got to feel anything, right? Because the more we reject or try to push away the way that we feel, we just end up running in circles. So whether we're talking about a what if or a past trauma, everything comes down to you got to feel it to heal it. And that might not necessarily be comfortable. But if you want to get this monkey off your back, you got to let it run its course. You got to feel it to heal it. There's really no other way around it, because everyone in this stream right now, they've tried all the other approaches, or you wouldn't be here. If the fighting worked, none of you would be here. So you really do have to feel it to heal it. Eventually, as you feel these difficult feelings, as you feel these thoughts and the results of these thoughts, but you're not trying to manipulate or fight with any of it, eventually you heal it, right? But you got to start poking around. You got to stop poking around in this wound. You got to feel it. You got to feel it. The problem is that sometimes fear can stop you from facing your triggers. It's too hard to just face it. How can it be done? It feels impossible. You got to do it. You want it bad enough? Do it. You want it bad enough? Do it. You got to take that leap of faith. Nobody can do that for you but you, right? And eventually you're going to get to the point where you're sick of the way that you're living, right? Eventually you're going to get to the point where you're like, you know what? Nothing else is working. I got to feel this to heal this. Eventually you'll get to that, point. And like I said, nobody can do that for you. I wish I could do that for you. Nobody can do that for you. I can't answer the question, how do I do it? You have to do it. Do you want it? You want it? Do it. I believe in you. You might not believe in yourself, but I absolutely believe in you. I got very triggered just now and gave in the urge to seek solution safety on Google, but of course got more triggered and didn't find the information I needed. Man, I could have seen that coming, but that's okay. Like I said, we're all humans. We make mistakes from time to get right back on board and feel it to heal it. You got to be able to sit with and be with that discomfort, right? Could you give some advice on health anxiety? Everything I just said applies to the health anxiety. Every single thing. So you're looking for something special, and I don't have it, right? You're looking for maybe he's got some information that I can, like, get around the whole feeling it thing, right? And I know how that feels because I've been there. Maybe I can ease and slide my way around the whole having to feel it thing. Maybe there's something special out there, and there's not. Right? How long have you been looking for that? And you can't seem to find it, can you? And you keep running in this circle, right? So everything I just said applies to health anxiety. There's nothing special. There's nothing you're missing. You gotta feel it to heal it. You gotta feel it to heal it. Refocusing to the present moment. Yeah, some people like the whole focus on a sound thing, as long as you're going about it in an accepting way, right? You don't have to be perfect at focusing on a sound. It's a very good tool to use, but as long as whatever you're doing, right? Whatever you're doing, whether you're focusing on a sound instead of fighting with the thoughts, whether you're picking your nose, as long as it comes down to the fact, right, that you are no longer trying to manipulate the way that you feel, that you are embracing the thoughts, you're embracing the feelings as they come and getting on with your life. You're no longer trying to control them, right? You're no longer trying to prove anything wrong. As long as you're doing that, whatever little techniques help you, that's great. That's great. As long as we get you to a point where, regardless of what you're doing, you're not trying to control, manipulate, or change the thoughts and feelings. You're no longer giving into this fight, right? As long as we get you to that point where these thoughts can come, great. These feelings can come, great. but you're no longer involved, right? You're no longer trying to manipulate, change, force, fight, none of that crap, right? You got to feel it to heal it. You're on your way, Brian. Don't worry, dude. I know you're having a tough time, but you're on your way. You're taking the necessary steps. Hey, it's up to you, Sean. I don't care what approach you wanna take. I don't care if you want to take this approach, that approach, this approach, right? As long as we get you to a point where you're willing to feel it to heal it, right? And that's the main point of this stream, and that's what this entire stream boils down to. As long as we can get you guys to a point where you're willing to feel it to heal it instead of so much fight, fight, fight. Okay, well that's the direction that we need to head in, right? That's the direction that we need to head in. I've been accepting, and my anxiety actually got worse. I know it's because they're actually starting to face those fears. Exactly, Tony. Exactly. You've cut out the safety nets. You're no longer fighting with it all. So now you're truly feeling it. Now you're truly feeling it to heal it. So you should be proud of yourself, dude. You should absolutely be proud of yourself. I know I'm proud of you. Congrats. All right, guys. Let's get back to the face cam. How's everybody doing? How is everybody doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see. I try to post this throughout the stream just so everybody has a chance to grab it. So I'm going to toss that Discord link out real quick. If anybody wants to join us over on the Discord, it's always an awesome time. Feel free to join us. We would love to have you. We talk way more about way more than just anxiety crap over there. I stopped working out to defy the thoughts, but now I feel stuck if I get back into my routine. It pleases the thoughts, but if I don't, it's not good. Well, see, the way to look at it is, are you doing said thing? Are you doing what you're doing to try to manipulate or control the thoughts and feelings? And if the answer to that question is yes, then you're not doing it because you actually want to do it. You're doing it to try to manipulate, control, or fight with the thoughts and feelings and blah 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 blah. So a good way to look at it is, am I doing what I'm doing because I truly actually want to do it, or am I doing it because I'm trying to get away from some sort of thought or anxious feeling, right? So that's one way to look at it. That's one question you can ask yourself. What's good, G? What's good, PJ? Seeing the streams, but living, bro. Triggered or not, got to get on with life, right? Exactly, dude. You got to feel it to heal it. Got to get on with your life. That's why we got the two main keys. Live your life, right? Don't fight the way you feel. Don't fight these stupid thoughts. Just allow yourself to feel it. You got to feel it to heal it. Get on with your life, right? So I'm glad you've been doing that, PJ. It's good to see you, dude. I was wondering where you've been. I was wondering where you've been. It's good to see you, man. Welcome. Guys, let's do our sub count for today. Let's see what we're sitting at. They've apparently got some little timer that you can put on, or not a timer, but like a counter that you can put on screen, but it doesn't work for me. We are at 9,936. Oh my gosh, we're so close. We are so close. We are so close, you guys. If you're looking for a sign, you know what I'm about to say. This is your sign. This is your sign to subscribe. When did you launch the Discord server? I'm honestly not sure. It's relatively new. It's relatively new. The Discord server was like an afterthought. It came like years after the channel had already started. Because I just recently myself got into Discord. Honestly, not all that long ago. I mean, it's been around for a bit, but it's pretty new. Marathon stream at 10K. That's what we were talking about yesterday. We were kind of throwing some ideas around yesterday, and that was one of them. Streaming for like 10 hours. We were talking about that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Best way to explain DPDR. Almost like what is a good way? Almost like a high. Almost like a high. Would you jump into a pit of spiders, Wonder Bro? Gotta face them triggers. I mean, if I ran into spiders every single day and it was starting to impact my every single day life, like your triggers are infecting your everyday life, then yeah, I would jump into a pit of spiders. You get what I'm saying? Right? So if I'm afraid of heights, I mean, sure, one day I can go jump out of an airplane and face those triggers. But if you're sensitized like you are, man, you got to do something. It's not about facing fears of spiders and jumping out of airplanes. You're to the point where you're fighting with your feelings every single day. It's starting to impact the way that you live on a daily basis. We're not talking about spiders here. We're not talking about, oh, I got to face my fear of heights. We're talking about you're sensitized. You're fighting with your anxiety and all these what if thoughts to the point where it's starting to impact your every single day life from every waking moment. So it's a bit different from, oh, I need to face my fear of airplanes to, oh, I'm sensitized because I'm fighting with my thoughts and feelings every single day and it's starting to impact my daily life, right? A bit different. Now, absolutely, I would encourage anyone who wants to face more specific triggers outside of sensitization. So let's say you heal and you still have a fear of planes, a fear of heights, and you want to face that, great. If you don't, no sweat off my back, right? Because that's not impacting your every single day life, right? But when you get to the point where you're sensitized and it's impacting your every single day life because you're fighting with every single what if thought that pops into your head, right? That's a bit of a problem. That's a bit of a problem, and that's what we're here to help you with. So, would I jump into a pit of spiders? Fuck no. Fuck no. Not well, maybe for $1 million, but probably not still. Fuck no. But if I'm sensitized, right? Am I going to put in the work to desensitize myself and get to a place where I can enjoy my everyday life again? Absolutely. Absolutely. The last time I had an anxious period, I had small panic attacks. This time around, I'm experiencing crazy symptoms and have them 24/7 almost. Is it because of sensitization? 24/7 anxiety is kind of a way to put sensitization. It means that you have a very tired nervous system. It means that you have a very tired nervous system and it's overreacting over every little thing. So, absolutely. I would say that you've got a little bit of sensitization going on, but don't get caught up on terms. Don't get caught up on terms. I know we have to use the term sensitization, right? Like I know we have to use the term, but don't go labeling yourself. Stick to the advice. You'll see the benefits of that. You'll see the benefits of that. Does awareness goes lower some days and high at other days? I noticed awareness, like as in what kind of awareness are we talking about? What kind of awareness are you talking about? Mm. If you're healed over sensitization, will it cure your triggers to some extent? Well, you got to understand your idea of a trigger, Sean. And again, I'm not trying to call anybody out here, but your idea of a trigger is a bit off. So yes, people have more specific triggers like spiders or airplanes that don't necessarily impact their everyday life. But I think when you say the word trigger, you're just meaning that you're in a sensitized state, which if you're in a sensitized state, you're going to be triggered over everything, right? Keyboard rage, snap the keyboard in half. You're going to be triggered over everything when you're in a sensitized state. It's not going to be a specific trigger. So if you're breaking it down in your sensitized mind, as in everything, every what if thought that you have, because you're sensitized, it will trigger you because you have a sensitive nervous system. But if you're breaking it down in your mind like, oh gosh, these are all now triggers. No, you're sensitized. Everything's going to feel like a trigger when you're sensitized. That's what being sensitized means. It means you're in such a fragile nervous system that every what if thought, even if it's a thought about being shit on by a seagull, is going to trigger you. And that doesn't mean, oh, now I've got a trigger of seagulls shitting on my face, right? No, it just means that you're sensitized. So I want to help you see this more clearly, right? So you do have specific triggers, and you're very right about that. Spiders, airplanes, there's all sorts of specific triggers that people have that have never been sensitized, but it doesn't impact their daily life. These are their little triggers they got going on, and then you can enter into a sensitized nervous system. Which, if you're in a sensitized nervous system, everything, right? Brian, Brian, Brian jump scared me there. If you're in a sensitized nervous system, everything's going to become a trigger, right? Because you're in a sensitive nervous system. So you are right that if you heal your sensitization, it gets rid of like what you would consider most triggers, right? Because you're no longer in a sensitized nervous system, therefore you're not popping off left and right over every little thing, right? Because that's what a sensitized nervous system does. It pops off left and right over every little thing. So if you heal your sensitized nerves, and you're back to feeling like you again, you're back to feeling good, right? You're back to feeling yourself again, you're back to feeling normal. But you realize that you still have some more specific triggers, like spiders. And you want to go tackle your fear of spiders? By all means, go do it, right? But I hope you get what I'm saying. If you're sensitized, it's going to feel like everything's a trigger. It's going to feel like and that's the whole point of being in a sensitized nervous system, is that it's overreacting to everything. I don't want you to think that these are now permanent triggers that you've got for the rest of your life. You are correct. There is more specific triggers that you might still have even after you desensitize. We call these fears that you've developed, right? So you are right about that. But you also have to understand that when you're in a sensitized nervous system, every little thing is going to feel like a trigger. Now, that doesn't mean you've developed all these fears that you got to tackle one by one. Heal your nerves, and you'll see that all these things trigger you way less, if not at all, anymore, right? And then if you still have more specific fears after you desensitize, then go for it if you want to tackle them, right? So it's just one of those weird things where, you know, we use terms because it's a good way to relay a message, but some people can get confused on the terms. They can take the terms the wrong way. So I hope that kind of clears that up a little bit. When we use the term trigger, if you're sensitized, you probably are triggered by everything, right? If you've got a very fragile nervous system, you're probably triggered by everything, right? If you're not sensitized, you don't have a fragile nervous system, you might still have some triggers. And we call these, you know, we can call these fears. We call them triggers, whatever. So I hope that kind of clears up the confusion there on the difference between sensitization, triggers, and all that crap. I hate that so many people get confused on the terms. I wish there was easier terms to use because, you know, terms are very easily manipulated by the mind. So I hope that clears that up a little bit. Let's see. Brian, thank you so much, dude. Okay. Whew. There we go. Okay. Okay, you guys are trying to jump scare me because I didn't turn down my volume again. But I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Brian, with the $6 tip. I don't want to pronounce your name because I feel like I'm gonna mess it up. I feel like I'm gonna mess it up. Andre, Andrea, Andre, Andrea, Andrea, Andre. I don't know, but thank you guys so much for your tips. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. That puts us at 12. Thank you guys. I really do appreciate it. If airplanes makes me 10 times triggered and I heal anxiety, you think maybe I would be more willing to comfortably ride in one again? So basically, just to follow up to Sean's question, yes, if you heal your sensitized nerves, chances are, you know, if you have more specific fears that you want to tackle later on, you're going to be able to tackle them with a little bit more ease, right? So yeah, I would say that's a fair statement to make. But you know, again, you can have if you're in a sensitized nervous system, it's going to feel like everything's a trigger, and I don't want you thinking, oh gosh, now I've developed all these triggers that are permanent triggers. No, you're just in a sensitized nervous system, bro. You just got a nervous system that's overreacting to everything, right? That doesn't mean that you've now developed all these tiny little fears and that's all adding up, that you've got to deal with each one of them individually. You heal your nervous system, you're probably going to shed like 90% of these triggers. They're not going to trigger you anymore. The only reason you're triggering you is because you're in a very tired nervous system. But let's say you heal your nerves and you still have more specific fears. That's possible. I personally, I still hate heights. Personally, I still hate spiders. I'm not sensitized. Spiders aren't impacting my daily life. Being afraid of heights isn't impacting my daily life. I feel good, right? Now, if one day I want to tackle those fears, sure, go for it. But you get my point. You know, if you're sensitized, everything's going to feel like a trigger, dude. If you're sensitized, everything's going to feel like a trigger. Is it true that it's impossible to happen, so going crazy from anxiety? You know, it's okay to have a little bit of reassurance and support from time to time, so I'm going to say yes to that. It's true. You cannot go crazy from anxiety. But you need to start embracing those thoughts, right? You need to start accepting those thoughts and feelings. It is true that it's impossible. I'll give you that. I'll give you that little bit of reassurance, but you need to start accepting those thoughts and feelings, right? Yeah, it's kind of like a forced exposure, Brian, right? It's one way to look at it. That's one way to look at it. What's up, Craig? I didn't see you sneak in here, man. What's up? What is up? What is up? What if you're not afraid of anxiety, but just future negative events? There's nothing you can do about them, dude. Like, I know I know you want to keep running in these circles, man. I'm here to tell you there's nothing you can do about possible future negative events. I could drop dead tomorrow from whatever, right? It's unlikely. I could step out on my porch, right, and drop fucking dead tomorrow. It's unlikely. It could happen, right, for whatever reason. But there's nothing sitting here, there's nothing me sitting here trying to debate with these thoughts that's going to happen except more stress on my nerves, right? And that's the way you got to look at it. More stress on my nerves, more stress on my nerves. There is absolutely no amount of worry that's going to help you, right? That's going to prevent this, that, or the other. Worry is just going to stress you out. So it's absolutely completely futile. So whether you're afraid of anxiety or you're afraid of possible future things happening, or maybe it's both, maybe you got what if thoughts and now anxiety comes in, understand that your fight is serving you zero, right? It's serving you zero. And if you want these thoughts to leave you alone, you got to stop feeding them. You got to say, okay, well, it might happen. All right, whatever, right? You got to start taking that approach. I mean, you're more than welcome to keep fighting them, but I don't want that for you. And I don't think you want that for you either, right? I don't think you want that for you either, Sean. So you got to step into that discomfort and you got to start to practice being more willing to have these thoughts and not trying to find this safety all the time, right? Because life is completely and utterly unpredictable. So whether you say I'm afraid of anxiety or I'm afraid of these thoughts or whatever the case may be, you got to be more willing to step into the discomfort that they bring instead of trying to fight them, because as you see, you're wasting your time. They just keep coming back for more and more and more. They just keep getting stronger. You're just feeding what you don't want to grow, right? Right? And I don't want that for you, and I don't think you want that for you. So you got to be willing to practice it and step into it. Yeah, I went for a walk today and I had a panic attack and said no, and I just kept walking. Don't get me wrong, it was hard because I was like, I couldn't catch my breath, but I knew what I had to do. So just fully embracing it, right? But let's change the no to a yes, right? I get what you're saying, though. I'm just picking on you. But that's awesome, Tony. Congrats, dude. Hey, Tony, you're making good progress, man. You're making good progress. How have you been, PJ? I haven't checked in with you for a while. I did face fears and I'm better than I used to be, but it's just the mind finds every negative thing to fix. You got to face this trigger, and that feeling that I have to do something is frustrating. So just live your life. Live your life how you want to live it. And when these anxious thoughts and feelings come, you know not to fight with them. You know just to step into them, right? You know, just to embrace them. So live your life how you want to live it. Stop, like Brian said earlier, you don't have to break it down so much. You don't have to overcomplicate it so much. Live your life how you want to live it. Do you. And when these negative thoughts and feelings come, instead of fighting with them, just take the opposite approach, right? And just be willing to sit with it and say, you know what? Thanks for coming. It is what it is. So be it. I'm not going to try to prove it wrong or anything like that. I'm just going to step into it. I'm going to feel it to heal it, right? So you don't have to overcomplicate it so much, but you're on the right track, Sean. You're on the right track. Change no to yes. Yeah, see, I mean the thing about it is, Tony, if you had panic and you were saying no to it, that might automatically put you in a bit of a defensive state. We just want to really be able to just say, okay, it is what it is. I welcome these thoughts and feelings. I'm going to feel it to heal it, right? And that's all I meant by that. That's all I meant by that. I just don't want you to put yourself in a bit of a defensive state. But other than that, yeah, I mean, you're doing great. You're doing really, really good. I'm doing better, bro. Not getting so triggered hardly, and when I do, I invite it, aka say yes, because I need this to retrain. I'm on the right track, bro. That's awesome, PJ. Keep it up, dude. We had to slap you around a little bit for a bit there, but it looks like you really got the message this time. So, congrats, congrats. long have we been streaming for? Are we coming up on the hour mark? If Evolution would have caught up. Alright guys, let me see. Drop that Discord link again for anybody who wants it.
I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Hey, hey.
Oh my gosh. Guys, do you know what I just realized? You know what I just freaking realized this whole time? Post stream.
I need a dollar, dollar,
Thank you guys so
dollar, that's
much.
what I need. Hey, hey.
Thank you guys so much. You know what I just freaking realized though? This whole time my post stream audio hasn't been working. So when we went on post stream earlier, I was talking my ass off with these comments, reading your comments and responding to each and every one of them during our last post stream, and nobody heard anything because essentially I was just talking to myself. And I just realized it. That's annoying, but hey, I accept it. Whatever. That's so stupid. That's so annoying. Can't believe that. Why didn't you guys tell me? I've been talking to myself during the post stream today. Every post stream, I thought I was still reading comments and answering them. Okay, anyway, Tony, thank you so much for the $6 tip, dude. I appreciate you. Instant Mint, man, thank you so much for the $2 tip. I appreciate you. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, thank you. I can't believe, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. What's that put us at? 20? I can't do basic math, so. Thank you guys so much for your tips, everybody. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Nah, man. So basically, the way it works is if we're on this screen, then that means I'm like AFK. That means like I'm not on the comments. I don't have my mic on. But if we're on this screen, It just means I'm taking a step away from the face cam to do whatever, but I can still read comments and stuff. And you can hear me now because I fixed it. I did not realize it was broken. But anyway, what do you guys think about this? The starting soon, starting stream is starting screen. What do you think about that? How you doing, man? What's up, Peter? It's good to see you, dude. It's been a minute. How you been, Peter? What's up, Arnold? How you doing, Arnold? Yeah, I fixed it, Mint. That's how it's supposed to be. I don't know. I had to update drivers for my mic today, so it kind of screwed with all of my sources on here. Kind of screwed with all of my sources on here. So, how you been, brother? I've been good, Peter. How you been, dude? It's been a minute. How you been? Catch me up. How's your life going? Hey, I appreciate that, Tony. Thank you. It means more to me than you know. Looks neat, but we like your face. I appreciate that. Thank you, Mint. You guys are so kind. You're too kind. To be honest with you guys, I'm about to just get rid of this cup thing because I thought it was supposed to fill up as you got tips and stuff, and I thought it was a neat little way just to add something to the stream. But honestly, it just chills. It just sits there. Like when someone tips, I think some stuff falls into it. It's not actually going anywhere. It's just kind of chilling there. I don't know if I've got it set wrong or something. Let's see. No, there's no way to. I mean, that's just how it's supposed to be. I guess it just doesn't fill up like I thought it did. Doing good, my man. Hope all is well with you. I appreciate that, Peter. I appreciate it. It's good to see old familiar faces from time to time. Good to catch up. Good to catch up with everybody. It's always bittersweet, dude. It really is. Like it's so bittersweet. Like when you meet these great people that watch your videos and you interact with them and communicate with them over these long periods of time, and then eventually they have their ups, they have their downs, they come back to see me every now and then they have their ups again, and before you know it, they're gone. They're gone like the wind. They've done left. They've done flew the coop. They've done grew their wings, right? And then you never really get to see them again. Sometimes they pop back in to say hi every now and again. It's bittersweet. It's bittersweet. Thank you for that, Mint. I've went through many different themes and setups since I've been doing this, and I can honestly say what you see here is probably my absolute favorite. I love the I love how organized it is. Granted, I'm going to point something out to you that might irritate your OCD, but if you notice the box that says we are open, it's a little bit higher up and a little bit smaller than this box. Does that irritate you? It irritated the shit out of me at first, but I'm just going to accept it. I'm just going to accept it. What's up, Olivia? I've actually started to cut out a lot of anxiety things out of my life and trying to focus on different things, but I come back here just to keep you updated. I appreciate that, Tony. Like I said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with support. There's nothing wrong with a crutch from time to time. Even Dr. Claire Weeks said it's okay to have a crutch at first, but eventually you're going to spread your wings and fly, right? Eventually you got to keep putting in the work for yourself, even if you do need a little bit of support from time to time. Now, if it's like a 24-hour reassurance thing, probably a problem. Probably a problem, right? But you get it. You get what I'm saying. You have OCD, you need recovery. You need recovery. Dude, I'll for the rest of my life I'll be bothered by little things like that. Little things like that irritate me a little bit. Not as much as they used to. It's not really an anxiety thing. It just irritates me, right? Like I like a nice organized setup, and the fact that I couldn't get those boxes the way I wanted them kind of irritated me a bit. But I'm over it. I'm over it. If you had any thoughts on how to identify what is my own will and what is manipulative thoughts, I missed it. Um, I would say always ask yourself the question, am I doing this for me because I want to do this? Or am I doing this to try to appease some sort of anxiety that I'm feeling, right? So if I start drinking green smoothies because I think it might make my negative thoughts go away and get rid of my panic attacks, I probably shouldn't drink green smoothies, right? Because I'm doing it for all the wrong reasons. Same with exercise. If I'm exercising to be healthier and because I want to be, and because I actually enjoy it, and because I just want to be a healthier person, great. But if I'm exercising just so I can try to make anxiety go away and rid myself of all anxiety, I'm going at it for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? Nah, bro, I'm forever grateful for your tips and advice. I'll always keep coming back to see what's up. I appreciate that, Peter. That's awesome, dude. A lot of people don't notice it at first, Robert. A lot of people don't notice it at first, but it's definitely a little bit off. It's a little bit off, you know. Hey, but we're all about acceptance. We're all about acceptance here, so trust me, it irritated the shit out of me too at first. But you know, we're just gonna deal with it. That's about as close as I could get it before ripping my hair out. Thanks for pointing that out. I'll never be able to unsee that now. But besides that, this is definitely my favorite theme that I've ever had. Another way to look at it, Mint, if you want to exercise because you actually enjoy it and you want to be healthier, yada yada yada, you're not just doing it to try to rid yourself of some sort of symptom, then great, go for it. And if you have manipulative thoughts that pop up while you're in the process of doing the things you want to do, like exercise, then you can just simply embrace them and accept them and say thanks for that. You know, thanks for that. Yeah, so be it. Might be true, whatever. Right? You're taking that paradoxical approach. You're no longer fighting with any of it. So really just make the choice that you want to make. Make the choice that you want to make, stick with it, and whatever thoughts pop up in the process, you know, acceptance. It's easy, it's very easy to miss Mint because it's not off by that much. It's very easy to miss. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's one of those things. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. My fave is the Halloween one. So what I'm gonna do, Peter, is like I love the theme that I've got right now. Like I said, it's probably my favorite I've ever had. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save it, but I'm also gonna do holiday themes, like I've always done since I've been streaming. But I'm gonna save it to where I can just easily switch back to this one. You know what I mean? I do love the Halloween theme though. We're gonna of course continue doing that. I try to do that. I try to remember to do that for every holiday. I love having holiday theme streams. It's fun. Be honest with you guys, I've had more fun streaming than I ever had doing videos. Not that I didn't enjoy doing videos, I absolutely love doing videos, but I've just had way more fun streaming on YouTube than doing actual videos. And that's just, I don't know. It's just, I love communicating with you guys. It's fun, I enjoy it, and I'm not a huge fan of editing. I don't really like editing, so I love streaming. Is exposure really the only way? All the feelings? Well, you got to feel it to heal it. You know, if you've got fear pathways in your brain, you've got to activate those, and then you got to feel it to heal it, and then it'll write new pathways. And that's what acceptance is really all about, just being willing to accept your feelings and thoughts, feel it to heal it, instead of trying to run away from it and fight with it. Because obviously that doesn't work, or you wouldn't be here, right? So feel it to heal it. I promise it's not as scary as it sounds. It's no worse than what you're already going through. You might as well go through it the right way. You know what I mean? That's one way to look at it. That's one way to look at it. You might as well go through. If you're gonna go through it, you might as well go through it the right way. Why not? Why not? You're already struggling. You might as well, you know, struggle the right way. Accept the right way. I appreciate that, Peter. Howdy, been a while. What's up, Panda? I literally just gave you the trusted member role over on the Discord today. See, that's the thing, Donovan. When you ask the question, is all the feelings, emotions, and symptoms safe? Hey, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is that just sent that tip, but I will check it out when I get back to the setup. But to answer your question, Donovan, when you say things like, is all the feelings, emotions, and symptoms safe during exposure? I'll go ahead and give you that little bit of reassurance and tell you, yes, it's okay to feel anxiety, but you want to step into it with an attitude of do what you will. Kill me if you must, right? Spoiler alert: you're not actually going to die from anxiety, but you get my point. We gotta drop the defense, right? I could have like a puppy cam. That would be kind of cool, actually. I saw that. Thank you. No problem, Panda. I was about to leave, but I'm gonna wait till it's over. Love you, Wonder Bro. I appreciate that, Brian. Thank you so much, dude. I'm surprised you guys like me. I do come off as a bit of a douche from time to time. I realize that. Sometimes I'll watch back some of my streams and I'll be like, damn, you were harsh with that question. But then I'm like, dude, that's what they need, right? It's all from passion. That's what they need. They need that. You could tiptoe through the tulips with them all day long, and people try to do that with me, and it never helped me, right? So it's all out of tough love. It's all out of tough love. Um, I stop myself if I get a bit too straightforward, but I promise I'm not douchey. It's just out of tough love. I don't wanna gently hold your hand as you cross the street. I wanna kick you off the cliff and teach you that you can fly, right? Right? You get what I'm saying? But anyway, I digress. All right, let's get back to the setup and see who the generous soul was that sent that tip. It was Abraham. Abraham Lincoln with the $5 tip. Bring on the anxiety. I really enjoy it. There you go, dude. There you go. That's one way. Hey, I appreciate you, Abraham. Thank you for the $5 tip, dude. It means a lot to me. We should always, I know I say this a lot, but we should always be grateful and thankful for every single one of our tippers. They keep the show on the road. In your old videos, I saw that you had a cat. Do you still have one? Yes. Yes. Still got kitties. Oh boy, have I been down that road. You can't die, little voice, but what if? So it's pointless for reassuring. Yep, exactly. The reassurance is pointless. I still give it. You know, some people are new here. I'll still give a bit of reassurance from time to time. It's not helpful in the long run, but I'll still get it if it'll get you going. If it'll get you going, you know what I mean? Some people do love the more I guess harsh is the right word. The more harsh streams. Some people do like that approach because they're motivating, right? They get you motivated, and they're very straightforward and blunt, and there's no there's no beating around the bush. So some people do like that. Some people are a little bit more sensitive. I understand that. So I try to cool it sometimes. I try to be more laid back and neutral for the most part. But for the people who really do love the motivational streams, I like to do it from time to time. Where's my dog? She is not in plain sight, so she must be in her kennel sleeping. I leave the door open and she goes in and out of her kennel as she pleases, so she's probably taking a fat nap right now, if I had to guess. Yeah, I always try to remind people, Panda, that you don't have to love anxiety. You don't have to literally love it. I understand that your goal is to recover. So you don't have to jump up and down in joy when you have anxiety, but as long as your attitude is one of acceptance, I don't really care how you get there, right? I love blunt motivates me. I mean, we've got a handful of those streams. If you search hard enough, you'll find. Just look up the tag motivation. Anytime I go on one of my rants where I'm just like fired up, I always put the word motivation in there. And again, I get that's not for everybody. Some people might take that the wrong way and get, emotionally hurt over it, and that's never my intention. But You know, I don't want to hold anyone's hand here. I want to get people inspired and motivated and let them know, like, look, you know, you can overcome this thing, but you got to be willing. And I want to get people gassed up like that, right? And motivated. And it's just, you know, some people might take that as being douchey, but it's just passion, man. It's just passion. Hello, everyone, for sure. Once I start accepting, the thoughts were hit me so hard. I'm like, bring it on, MF. And yes, you need to feel the pain. Thank you, Pootie. Hey, man, you're going in the right direction. There's a bit of a language barrier here, but I get exactly what you're saying. And I'm proud of you, dude. Sometimes when you're on the verge of a panic attack, you can slap yourself and snap yourself out. It brings you back to the present. Focus on the pain. Hey, but be willing to feel that panic, right? Be willing to feel that panic. And thank you, man. I'm glad you don't think I'm douchey. Hey, Craig, you got to be willing to feel it, man. You got to feel it to heal it. With 24/7 feelings like dizziness, how do you keep accepting even when it doesn't really lift? I'm just curious because I've been in setback for a few weeks now. So obviously, you know, in the back of our minds, we're going to be like, when is this going to go away? But try not to ask that question too much to yourself. I'm not talking about to me. I'm talking about to yourself. Try not to ask yourself that question too much. You don't want to be on the defensive. You do not want to be on the defensive when it comes to anxiety. You want to be as willing to feel the thoughts and feelings as possible, right? And sometimes you got to motivate yourself to get to that point, and that's fine. But remember, when it comes to anxiety, you never want to be on the defensive. You always want to have an approach and a standpoint of, I embrace the way that I feel. As long as you fight the thing, you're not going anywhere. You're going in circles, right? You're not actually accomplishing anything. It's a complete waste of time, and it's the reason that the fire continues to grow. So, you know, I know in the back of your mind you're going to want it to go away, but try not to ask yourself that question as much as possible. Brian, I get dizzy and lightheaded all the time. Craig, I know Craig. Well, I don't know him personally, but we talk quite often. Craig, if you complain about being lightheaded one more time and you tell me that all you ate today was a taco, one taco, I'm gonna slap the shit out of you, right? You got to stop telling me you're lightheaded all the time. I ask you what you eat. You said a grain of rice. Okay? You guys need to make sure that you're at least eating a little bit. I don't mean you have to gorge yourself, but if you're dealing with lightheadedness and dizziness, man, you gotta eat more than a damn taco, Craig. All right? Go have a hot dog or two. I love you, Craig. Love you. Love you. Love you. Don't make me come down there. Don't make me come down there, Craig. So I notice sometimes I'm laughing at my bit of a language barrier here, but I'm going to try my best. And next time I'm in the practice mode is hard. They try to keep trick me. So some ups and downs. That's what I got for that. You're having some ups and downs. Completely normal, dude. Completely normal. But you're practicing, right? You might not be perfect, but you're practicing, and that's what matters. I haven't been on a live or Discord in a long time until recently and gave myself that big leap to start practicing and not running back to chat or videos. That's great. Like I said, you know, it's good to have support. It's great to have support. That's why this channel exists. It's good to have the knowledge. You got to have the knowledge to use it. But if you notice that it's becoming just like a 24-hour thing and you're not actually putting in the work, then that's different. I'm glad maybe you noticed that in yourself and you made that change. You should be proud of yourself. Hey, Craig, I love you, dude. It's tough love, you know. I would consider all of you close friends, right? But I've known Craig for a long time, and it's tough love. I love you, Craig. You absolutely can do this, dude. You absolutely can do this, but you've got to start taking care of yourself, and that means let's start eating a bit more. I don't mean you have to gorge yourself, but you know, just when you're hungry, eat, man. When you're hungry, you got to eat. You got to take care of yourself. That's the basics. You know, let's tackle the basics first. Let's make sure we're taking care of ourselves to the best of our ability. Like I said, it doesn't mean you have to stuff yourself all day long, and just try to eat a couple meals, you know, once or twice, like something, right? And I know recently you've been really trying to practice acceptance. I'm proud of you. You've made more progress than you think you have, right? I've known you for a long time. You've made more progress than you think you have, and you should be proud of yourself. But you got to keep that attitude up. Every single day, you got to try to become a little bit more willing to embrace the way that you feel instead of trying to run from it or mentally fight with it. But other than that, Craig, you've come a lot farther than you think you have. Please take care of yourself, right? Please start to take better care of yourself, and just know that you're doing good, dude. You're doing good. But I missed y'all. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, Panda. Like, if you're here just to hang out with us and chat, like on the Discord, you know, we're not all about anxiety here. You know, we're still all humans at the end of the day. We can talk about whatever the hell you want to talk about, right? So there's nothing wrong with coming in here and hanging out with your friends. Nothing wrong with that. It's good to see you, Panda. It's good to see you. Hey, you're right, Tony. I agree with your comment, dude. I agree with your comment. Once you stop questioning it as much, right? And we're willing to feel the way that you feel and have the thoughts that you have. You know, you're willing to ride the wave. You're willing to ride the wave, right? Then you know that you're on a good track at that point. Like I said, you don't have to love it. Isn't that what Panda said? You don't have to love it, but you're embracing it. You're accepting it. You got to feel it to heal it. You're right, Craig. Second fear is not fun, but it's also a choice. Okay? So remember, don't forget, Craig. First fear is those thoughts and feelings. You can't do anything about them coming. Second fear is whether or not you fight with them or you just keep an attitude of, thank you for that. Okay, I'm going to accept the way I feel. I'm going to be with the way I feel. I'm going to feel it to heal it, right? So you are right. Second fear is not fun, but it's also a choice. So you got to practice not adding that second fear. Craig's my buddy, man. I give him a hard time from time to time, but it's all out of tough love. It's all out of tough love. One time I got mad at the anxiety and told it to bring it on, and it almost vanished instantly. That doesn't work every time, but it was amazing to witness. So basically, you know, a lot of people try that approach, but they don't actually mean it. They're kind of like they mumble those words, and then 10 seconds later, they're right back in their head fighting with it all, trying to disprove the thoughts that come, you know, whatever. But if you actually did that and meant it, yeah, it would work. But it's like I always say, no matter the approach you take, whether you take a more aggressive standpoint or, you know, whatever, a more neutral standpoint, as long as you're not fighting with the thoughts and feelings, you're on the right track. At some point, no matter what, it will click for you, true acceptance, and then it's like, oh, that's what he meant. You're right, exactly, Panda, exactly. Sometimes it takes longer times for some people than others, but you got that right. I had some oatmeal this morning, and it's running right through me. Nice, dude. Nice, Tony. Acceptance, but get to a toilet. Accept on the toilet. Don't accept in the floor. What time is it? It's still fairly early in the day. It's still fairly early. One time I embraced the impending panic attack, smiled, and welcomed it. Within a minute, it melted away. Exactly, dude. Again, I don't care if you guys want to take the more aggressive approach, like bring it on, hit me with your best shot, or if you want to take the more neutral approach, like, oh, this is just my overprotective, you know, body doing its thing. All right. I'm not going to fight with it. I accept it. I don't care which approach you want to take. As long as you've got that attitude of being with the feelings and the thoughts without trying to manipulate or change them, then you're on the right track, right? Then you're on the right track. You have to really mean it. It's the trick. Yeah. I mean, you know, you have to keep that attitude. And by really mean it, we mean not turning around 5 seconds later and arguing with all the thoughts again and all the feelings again. Right? That's what we mean by really mean it. To not turn right around and go back into the same old bad habits. Hey, the thing about anxiety being a bully, Donovan, like we said yesterday, you can bully the bully, right? You can bully the bully. You can be in charge. So by that we mean, hey, you can tell the anxiety, do your worst, right? Whatever approach you want to take, whatever approach you like, you take that approach. Some days easier than others. Some days you make mistakes. You are human. Some days you start adding that second fear again. Whatever. Just get right back on board. Can you invite your cat to the stream? I will have to put Nova in her kennel and actually like lock her in her kennel if I want to do that, because some reason she does not like cats. I don't know why, but she does not like cats. don't know why. But again, whatever approach you guys want to take, if you want to bully the bully, if you want to be more neutral about it, whatever, it doesn't really matter to me as long as you're in an attitude of not fighting with it. Do you approach depression the same way? So the two main keys are live your life, and the live your life and not fight with these thoughts and feelings, right? Now, as far as depression is concerned, the most important of those two main keys, in my opinion, for depression is going to be the live your life part. Obviously, you still shouldn't be fighting with thoughts, but the live your life part is very crucially important, in my opinion, for depression because feeling follows action. You need to get back up and you need to realize that while we should accept our feelings and respect our feelings, they don't have to dictate what we do. And as far as depression's concerned, a little goes a long way, right? When you get back into living. So I would say yes, it all still applies to depression. Absolutely. Honestly, dude, I wouldn't go around telling yourself that you're depressed too often though, because 9 times out of 10 when dealing with sensitization and healing, you're just fatigued. You're just very tired. You've been through a lot, right? Brain fog, yes, very very common. Very very common. It feels like what it sounds like, right? Like just a fog, foggy headed. It's a pretty common normal symptom. It feels like exactly like it sounds like. Glad you agree, Brian. It's just I don't want you to take the risk of labeling yourself as depressed if you're just fatigued and tired from being on this journey, you know? Because then you might start getting up in your head thinking you've got a whole other thing you got to tackle, right? Which is not a good train of thought to follow. Which is just, it's just a whole other train of thought that a rabbit hole you probably don't want to go down because what good is that going to do? So I wouldn't get in the habit of thinking maybe I'm depressed now. I would just remind myself it's okay to feel how I feel, right? I understand that we need labels to be able to talk about them, but at the same time I'm not a fan of labels and I'll never be a fan of labels because it leads to too much of a rabbit hole. Leads to way too much of a rabbit hole. I flat out just shrugged it off, let whatever happens happens. There you go, Panda. That's the attitude. Derealization, it is very common. Not everybody is going to experience the same symptom set, but you're right, it is pretty common. Same concept though, regardless of what particular symptom we're talking about, you guys know the advice is not going to change. Same thing for the thoughts too, right, Panda? Right, right. Same thing for the thoughts too. I agree with your comment, but same thing for the thoughts too. Don't forget. Don't forget. Got to be willing to step into it, Craig. Stop being on the defensive, right? Don't be defensive towards it. It is what it is. Dr. Claire Weeks knew all of this better than anyone else. This is not something I just come up with, right? This is becoming more and more popular these days in the literature everywhere. Acceptance is starting to get the recognition that it deserves because we realize that for so long we've been running in circles with all this other bullshit, right? And I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to your therapist, you shouldn't listen to your doctor. Obviously, you should listen to your therapist and doctor. I'm simply saying acceptance is starting to get the recognition that it deserves. 9 times out of 10, when I've got people that come in here and say that they've told their therapist about my channel, their therapist completely agrees with me. I've rarely ever had anyone come in here and say that their therapist doesn't agree with me. In fact, I don't think that's ever happened. So that tells me one thing: acceptance is starting to finally get the recognition that it deserves. We're starting to realize that for so long we've been approaching this the wrong way, right? We've got so many people here in the channel that can stand up and say, yes, this shit works. Just right here on this little channel, we've got so many people that can tell you so many great stories of how they've turned their life around, and it's amazing. If you'd like to watch a video like that, I've got a video entitled Recovery Success Comments. Go check it out. It's just basically a big old video full of people sharing, their success. So I need to make a part 2 to that because that's a very, very old video. But you can heal your nerves under really any circumstance, Tony. It depends on the attitude, right? Hope you guys have a great day. We will recover. Hey, keep kicking ass, Brian. All right, guys. All right, all right. Blake says, hi, it's my birthday. Happy birthday, Blake. How old are you? Happy birthday, man. Happy, happy birthday. Let's get some love for Blake in the chat. 24, nice, nice. You having a good birthday? How close are we till 10K? What did I say earlier? I don't even remember. Let's see. We are at 9,935 subs. Oof, so close. I think I mentioned my new puppy a while back. She's 6 months now and likes to pet people. No joke. That's awesome. Hey, if you're in the Discord, you could share a pic with everybody in the pets channel, if you want to. That's the cool thing about the Discord. There's so many different channels available over there. Alright guys, we've been streaming for about an hour and a half, so we're going to go ahead and shut it down here. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you missed it and join us late, you can always catch the rerun. It'll be uploaded on the YouTube channel, assuming everything goes correctly with that and YouTube doesn't glitch out. But until next time, guys, I love you. Thank you so much for the support. 10K, here we come. If you're not subscribed, you know what to do. Make sure you subscribe, and I will see you guys all very, very soon, probably over on the Discord. Until next time, as always, right there.